British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is putting his job on the line to ensure the UK leaves the European Union at the end of October. Many members of Parliament, though, are trying to push through a delay to avoid a no-deal Brexit. Johnson's called for an election on October the 15th if Brexit is again put off. He made his demand a day after the opposition took control of Parliament's agenda with the help of rebel members of the ruling Conservative Party. Johnson says taking a no-deal Brexit off the table weakens the government's position as it negotiates for a new deal with the European Union.
Well, this government will take this country out of the European Union on October the 31st. There is only one thing that stands in our way. It is the surrender bill currently being proposed by the leader of the opposition. And can I invite her to confirm, can I invite the leader of the opposition to confirm when he stands up shortly, that if that surrender bill is passed, he will allow the people of this country to have their view on what he is proposing to hand over in their name with an election on October the 15th, Mr. Speaker.
For more on this, let's bring in Vicky Pryce from London's Centre for Economics and Business Research. Vicky, Wednesday's vote to block a no-deal Brexit. Will business and industry be breathing a sigh of relief, or is this just opening a door for more delays?
There's probably going to be another delay. Of course, what we may see is that there is another election instead, but he may not be able to get his wish. We just listened to the Prime Minister saying that if he doesn't win tonight, then he'd have an election on October the 15th. Well, that, of course, will be quite complicated when it happens, but in the meantime, he may not get the support from Parliament to do so. So it means that there could well be a delay, a further delay. He'll be forced to go and ask for an extension from October the 31st. But if he comes back with a deal, which Parliament approves of, then that's fine. And businesses will be quite pleased because, of course, that will mean a transition period coming with it of at least a couple of years when nothing much changes. So for business, I think it is better to, even though there will be a delay, to have something that allows them to deal more easily with the EU than to have a no deal. So I think they'll be prepared to accept a delay, and they probably will be quite pleased about that.
What is the EU's reaction likely to be for another request for a delay? They have continuously said that they're not interested in pushing this back any further.
That's absolutely true. What they're also saying is that they don't see that there is an awful lot of evidence of the current new government negotiating anything very significant with the EU right now to ease some of the concerns that people have at present about what was agreed with the previous Prime Minister, Theresa May. So nothing very much is happening there. They don't want to change their own stance at all. They still insist on a backstop for Northern Ireland. In other words, that everything should carry on as it is under any circumstance between Northern Ireland and of course, the Republic of Ireland. So they don't want a return of any sort of wall in between, if you like, stopping trade between the two countries and also stopping people moving. So the backstop is staying as far as they're concerned. But I think if they're faced with the possibility of either a no deal or an extension, they would certainly give the extension. My view is, despite the hard words we hear from Europe, they would be quite pleased to do whatever they can to get a proper deal, one that can pass Parliament and one that is good for business, both for the UK and for the rest of the EU. So I think they will give an extension if asked.
On Boris Johnson's political standings, as far as he's concerned, if the UK does go to another general election, is Boris Johnson in trouble here? He seems to be losing support left, right and centre.
Well, we'd say that, and indeed, in terms of trust, it doesn't seem to be there, certainly not in Parliament itself. But for the moment, although people don't want to go for a no deal, the standing of the Conservative Party is still quite good. In fact, they're something like 10 points ahead to Labour, and there is still, of course, the Brexit party out there, but they seem to be the biggest party for the moment. It doesn't mean they will be able to have a majority, but that support is still there, which is quite surprising given everything. But much will change probably over the next few days when people realise what the prospects are ahead.
And just briefly, Vicky, how would you expect markets to react when they reopen on Thursday?
I think if the vote is such that it absolutely forces the Prime Minister to abandon the no deal, then the markets will be pleased. If they think that he might get a general election, then they'll be worried again. So it's going to be a bit volatile, I'd say.
It'll be an interesting one to watch. Vicky Pryce joining us from London. Thank you for that analysis.